Welcome to the Wellness Game. Thanks for being here, and hello to those watching the recording. I'm Melanie White. I'm the CEO of Sage Women's Health. We're an organisation of experienced consultants, people who have lived experience as well as professional experience in helping businesses to understand the mess of menopause. And my host, I'm co-hosting Christine Boucher, who's the CEO of Worx. Christine has a lot of experience in many different areas, actually, working with businesses and helping people to bring their skills into business. Christine, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Mel. So my background is 20 years in the healthcare industry, working as a nurse. And I think what I moved into corporate health and wellness around 10 years ago, started my company Wellness Works. I got frustrated with seeing patients and exacerbation of their disease, getting sicker and sicker. And I would think, what can we do differently? And it's about that preventative healthcare, keeping people healthy and well at work, contributing to their workplace, contributing to their families and communities. So I'm quite passionate about keeping people out of hospital and well in the workplace.
Thanks, Chris. Please take us through the Wellness Game today. Oh, I guess I'll talk to this slide first. And one of the reasons that we're here, of course, is the fact that so many people struggle to get good value out of training. I'm sure you've been there yourself. You go to a training course, you get spoken at for a few hours, and you come home and you can't remember anything. And your organisation might say, what did you learn at the training course? But it rarely goes anywhere. I have a long history of working in corporate and I've seen it over and over again. And so we want to do things differently, and partnering with Christine and Wellness Works means we can bring more engaging and creative initiatives into the workplace, because we know that when we get employees engaged with wellbeing, there's better productivity, there's better performance, and there's a better bottom line for business. That's part of what Sage does. We provide an end-to-end solution for businesses around menopause, but this education piece is so important for keeping employees well and helping them to have profitable careers, financial security. Chris, back to you.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start the presentation and I'm going to take you through the logistics of the wellness game. But I want to do a demonstration. Have you ever seen this when someone comes into your organisation? Okay, what is wellness? The World Health Organization defines wellness as a state of physical, mental, social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Blah, 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 blah. Boring. Are you still with me? Are you disengaged? Are you switched off? Are you just sick and tired of these boring PowerPoint presentations with lots of words, no images, no fun? It's just, it sucks, right? I know I've been in so many rooms that have presented in this manner. I've also, guilty as charged, presented in a similar manner when I first started out. So I'm curious to know whether you're curious to do something a little bit different. And if you are, just give me a raise of your hand to see if you want to do something a little bit differently. So you guys, let's do it. Let's just play this game because I'd love to see what Rich's knowledge is like. So this is a little competitive game, Rich, with a few questions. You need your phone and the QR code, if you got that handy. And we're going to play this game. And what it's going to show is who's in the leaderboard and who's got the knowledge around workplace wellbeing. So I'm going to jump back into my slides and okay, so you see the little QR code there to the side. If you scan that QR code, it should take you into the game. You got it, Mel? Just let me know when you got it, Rich. You got it. Okay, excellent. So Have you got the first question up on your screen? Which of the following best describes the impact of workplace wellbeing programs?
Yes.
So basically, you've got about 20 seconds to answer each question. Is it allowing you to answer the question? Just go.
Yep.
Done, Mel? Yep. Okay.
I'm competitive, just letting you know.
Same. Don't
Oh,
worry,
both,
so am I.
both got it right. So improve morale and productivity. Which of the following is not a psychosocial hazard?
Hang on, it's asking me to join. Which one is not?
That means I got to answer before you.
Oh, you got 7 seconds, Rich.
Not sure. I was still typing my name in.
Oh, yeah, are you in? You're right for me to move forward?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
So the answer to which of the following is not a psychosocial hazard is adequate reward and recognition. Well done, Mel. So Mel's in the lead.
I
Which
answered that same.
Which of the following is the average age range for women to experience menopause in developed countries? Four seconds. And we've got both at 100%, 45 to 55 years. We've got Mel in the leaderboard. What is a potential consequence of ignoring employee well-being in the workplace? All right. These are too easy for you. You're both getting them right. Which characteristic does not demonstrate emotional intelligence? Lack of empathy, both correct. The average return on investment for every $1 invested in employee health and well-being, there is a return of how many dollars? Excellent. $6 return. That's pretty good return. What is the average duration of perimenopause in most women?
Mel has a distinct advantage.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it is 5 to 10 years. It's a pretty long period of time, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
How can fostering a culture of psychological safety contribute to overall workplace well-being? Yes, both correct. By creating an environment where employees feel valued and respected. Well done. According to an extensive survey by McCrindle, corporate wellness programs are at the forefront of what percentage of Australian workers' minds? This is interesting.
You might beat me on this one, Rich.
Don't be so sure.
74%. That is a huge percent, isn't it? So we have got Mel in the leaderboard with 2 more questions to go. There's still an opportunity, Rich. What contributes to workplace performance for perimenopause, menopausal women? Excellent, both correct. All of those things. There's so many physical and mental and you know, all the impacts that a menopausal woman goes through. It's going to impact workplace performance. So congratulations, Mel, you are the winner. So I'm just curious, what did you get out of that little activity?
It was engaging and fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. Taps into that competitiveness, which not everybody has, but certainly I do.
Yeah, it's just a different way of learning. Instead of me standing there and doing the PowerPoint presentations and explaining and advising about, you know, what menopausal women go through or about well-being in the workplace, it's just sort of like, it's just a different way of engaging and of learning and of doing. So that's what the wellness game is bringing to workplaces, is doing well-being in the workplace a little bit differently. So we're just going to cover in this short webinar the problem with current wellness initiatives. We're going to look at just introducing the wellness game, its purpose, a little bit around the logistics, how to play the wellness games, and the outcomes, benefits, and results. So this is a new initiative that was born a couple of years ago that I've implemented and beta tested in workplaces, and it's just bloody brilliant. It's a lot of fun and it's a great way of learning, and we've gotten some great feedback from the participants that have been through it so far. So what the problem that we're commonly confronted with is like that first slide that I showed you, the boring PowerPoint presentation. I mean, even this is it's challenging delivering a PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, we can't play the wellness game online. It is live, it is interactive, it has to be face-to-face. A lot of organisations or a lot of those presentations deliver that tick the box kind of wellness initiatives. And sometimes they're really out of touch with what the staff need and want. And when you don't know what the staff need and want, then you're not delivering a fit for purpose wellness program, and it's not going to be engaging, and there's not going to be the same uptake. So you can lose a lot of time, energy, and money on initiatives that don't engage and don't work. For some people in organisations, it's difficult to talk about wellness challenges that they're confronted with, whether it be mental health, whether it be menopause, whether it be some social health issues that they're having. So that is often a problem to opening up the dialogue around wellbeing in the workplace. And what I commonly find after, you know, we've been working in this space for over 10 years in workplace wellness, there's often a lack of self-awareness and awareness and empathy for others in the workplace. It is often overlooked. And when we overlook our own well-being or the well-being of others, that has a significant impact to the performance of ourselves or others, the productivity of the workers, the engagement, the team dynamics, the retention of staff, the satisfaction, the happiness. It all contributes potentially negatively towards a workplace, which then impacts the profitability and the bottom line of a workplace. So a recent report by Howden Report says that mental wellbeing is a particular concern amongst those large firms. 90% of firms rated this as their top priority. According to a recent study through PwC Australia, 38% of staff are looking at leaving their jobs, their workplace in the next 12 months. We know that staff turnover has a significant cost factor and impact to an organisation. The statistics are around 60 to 70,000 Australian dollars per employee. When you take into consideration all the intellectual property that's been invested in that employee, they're walking out the door and you're starting from scratch, going through that whole process of recruitment and advertising and interviewing and training and educating, and it can take up to 3 months to go through that process, let alone getting them up to speed with the knowledge that they need to do the job efficiently and productively. So it's a significant cost factor if your staff are not being retained and they're walking out the door. So the Wellness Games purpose is essentially to support self and others' well-being awareness. So by playing the game, the logistics of the game, it's a 4-hour face-to-face game where we'll go through what the participants actually do. But through this time, they're given activities to do that really helps to create the awareness of what they're actually doing, what they're doing in the workplace, how they're interacting with their colleagues and workmates. Do they have an awareness when someone is not feeling great, when someone's mental health is off, when someone has had not a good night's sleep and may be tired and frustrated, when someone lacks some emotional intelligence and may not be an effective communicator? Do they have the awareness of their self and of others? And do they know how to mitigate and manage those challenging situations? The purpose is also to cultivate that organisational culture and teamwork. So what it does is it helps to bring teams together and work cooperatively, because within the game they win chips or they win it's a form of income. So the more that they're working together as a team, the more impactful and effective they're going to be, and therefore the more chips that they win. That is the game in a nutshell. The more chips you get, you'll be the winner of the game. But throughout the game, the challenges that they're confronted with puts them on the platform to understand how to work more effectively as a team. When they're working more effectively as a team, they're able to operate and then bring in the income, bring in the chips, bring in the money. And we also highlight psychosocial hazards. So there may be opportunities to realise in a safe space that there are gaps in the way people are communicating, operating, and integrating that are not productive or purposeful for every individual. And so by highlighting and creating this awareness of self and others, of teams and cultures, of psychosocial hazards, then we have a platform of opportunity to go, okay, this is what we're doing really well. That's fantastic. And here we've identified some gaps. So how can we then overcome those gaps so that we're having a workplace that there is empathy, there is care, there is an awareness of self and others, there is a productivity and optimal performance, where teams are working effectively together and harnessing the strength and unity of the culture of teamwork, having healthy team dynamics, and how can we support and mitigate and manage psychosocial hazards so that we've got that inclusion and diversity within our workplace and we're operating in a healthy, safe and well platform. So this is the game's challenges. I mentioned it runs for about 4 hours. First, we prime the audience. We set them up for success. We walk them through the logistics of how it works. And then they're given these tasks. So they get an actual workbook to work through. And the organisation, the participants that we require, 30 plus participants, are then brought into individual teams. There may be 8 to 10 in each team. Then they basically go through this series of challenges. All we're doing here is we're replicating real working life, business operations as usual. So they formulate their company, they choose a CEO, they choose, what their product or service is going to be. They have a list of basic activities that they need to do. Then they have a list of activities under stakeholder engagement, where as teams, they can interact, they can communicate, they can present, they can try to sell to each other. It's really up to the initiative, the creativity, the innovation of the individuals in the teams of how they operate. They're given a foundation, they're given a guideline, but essentially we don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's really quite interesting and fun. They're also given the opportunity to capitalise on their finances. There's going to be a banker where they can go to a banker and get a loan. There's going to be a funding body where they can go to the funding body and show them their great company service or product initiative, and they can then get some funding. So remembering that the way to win the game is through getting as many chips as you can. And then there is the last challenge is the wellness officer nurturing team wellbeing. So they choose a wellness officer and then they deliver presentations or support to their own teams in the framework of wellbeing. So this is kind of just business as usual, right? This is just standard business operations. But what they don't know is a little challenge that we give them on the sly. And that is individuals from each team, one, maybe two individuals are provided with what we call a play card. And the play card is an issue that they may be experiencing. For example, this is one example of a whole realm of play cards that may be given out. This person has a physical health issue, they're going through perimenopause or menopause. The scenario is they're approaching midlife, they're coming across the symptoms of menopause, they're finding it challenging, they're exhausted, they're not sleeping well, hot flushes, mood swings, brain fogs, impacting their ability to feel effective at work. There's no accommodation for reasonable adjustments or confidential discussions at work, which is creating a stigma. So this is a scenario, a normal scenario for a 45-plus-year-old woman that's experiencing menopause. And the behaviour, so what they're instructed to do when they're given this play card is behave in that certain manner. So for example, with someone with menopause, they may be embarrassed to ask for help or speak to a manager. They're tired, they're acting irritable and stressed. They may not be effective communicators. They may withdraw from the team or not be interacting as well in meetings. They may be taking time off or, getting to a point of burnout and are struggling to keep up with the workload. So what's happening is when the participant is given this play card, they go back in to doing the challenges that the team's been given. The team's not aware that they've been given this play card, but they act it out and they behave in that certain manner. So it's just a replication of real life. But what we're trying to ascertain is how are the team actively looking after this person? Do they have the awareness that they're withdrawn? Do they have the awareness that they're stressed and irritable? Is the wellness person within the organisation actually doing anything to support them? Are their teammates, looking after them and supporting their needs? So it's in the acting or the action that we get the learning and the awareness. Here's another example of a play card: mental health, low mood. So the scenario is that there's a breakdown relationship, they've been separated for over 6 months, they're navigating the complexities of divorce, they're grappling with the intricate process of separating assets, finances, alongside the emotionally taxing endeavour of determining the shared custody of children. This is a normal life scenario, right? I know lots of people that have gone through this exact scenario, and it can be very stressful and overwhelming. So this person that receives this play card is experiencing the behaviour of a sense of emotional low. They're wanting to seek solitude. They're wanting to withdraw to a quiet corner to gather thoughts. Team discussions and group activities become avenues that you're avoiding, and they're sidestepping eye contact as they're struggling to engage with those around you. when I actually played out this game, we had someone with this play card of low mood. They removed themselves from the team, and it was about 2 hours before any one of their teammates actually realised that this person had removed themselves from the team, had isolated themselves, who was sitting off in the corner on their own, 2 hours before anyone went over and went, hey, are you okay? That was an amazing awareness for that team, that in the action of the scenario, what did we do or what did we not do? So it's a really interesting to see how this plays out, because it's going to play out differently every time. It's going to play out differently depending on how the person acts out the play card, and it's going to play out differently according to the emotional intelligence and awareness of their teammates about, okay, are they okay or they're not okay? I can tell through their behaviors something's not right. What are our actions? What are we going to do about it? So we actually get a pre and post game comparative analysis. So we just do a really short survey pre-delivery and a short survey post-delivery. So it's a real robust awareness assessment in a short period of time that we can ascertain the organisational, self and social awareness through playing the game. So they may go into the survey before playing the game going, yes, we're great, we're brilliant, we look after each other, we care about each other. Where in fact, after the game, they might have the realisation, as this one team did that played, actually, we're not that self-aware, we're not that socially aware of others. It may just see a difference in the scoring. The pre and post game comparative questionnaire also looks at the effectiveness of wellness initiatives, what they've done, what's been working, what hasn't. It looks at the organisational culture and teamwork and the awareness of psychosocial hazards. So it's a really good way, because sometimes we think things are okay, but they may not be okay. Or on the flip side, it might just give us the awareness that actually we're doing really well. So this is a real tangible way of demonstrating to an organisation where they're actually at, where are the gaps, and then we can have a conversation of how we can support them accordingly to fill those gaps, so that they have teams that are working and collaborating effectively, who have the awareness of each other and are mitigating and managing those psychosocial hazards. So it's in the doing that we find the learning. So it's not someone standing up the front of a room of people going blah, blah, blah. It's they're actually doing the activities that's replicating real life, that they're like, aha, it's where the aha moments come out. So after they play the game and we do the post survey, is then we have approximately an hour debrief, and it's in the debrief is the learning, because that's where the participants that had the play cards confide to the rest of the team and participants that what their challenge was, what their behaviors were, what they were confronted with. And it was, when I delivered this, just seeing the penny drop for so many didn't realize that their teammates, because often in reality in a workplace, you don't know what your teammates are going through. You don't know what your workmates are experiencing. But if you have the emotional intelligence and awareness, you can see that someone's off. You can see if they remove themselves and sitting in the corner for 2 hours, so it's creating that aha, creating that awareness. How have we gone in this instance, and how can we do things better? So the benefits and the outcomes and the results that this game achieves, it's just a really fun way for teams to connect. Like the interaction and the laughter and the fun that we had delivering this, it was really, really good fun, and they really enjoyed it. So it wasn't confrontational, it wasn't boring, it was fun, it was engaging. It provides the opportunity of a safe space to talk about individual health challenges, which creates empathy and awareness. It starts that dialogue. It starts a dialogue around some of those challenging topics or conversations around menopause, around mental health, around things that often are kind of kept a little bit silent. It's an opportunity for creativity and friendly competition. I like a little bit of friendly competition, and it just simulates that real life. So it enhances the teamwork, it enhances collaboration, it enhances just, how do we work together and are we effective in our team dynamics? And it identifies that big picture risk and the opportunities within the organisation. So it may highlight some psychosocial hazards, but better to highlight and understand them before they become problematic. Better to be preemptive and proactive and mitigate and manage it before it becomes an issue for individuals and for the organisation. And it provides those real-time results. With the live survey, we can see exactly what's going on, and it's the opportunity to be proactive, mitigate and manage those risks to the organisation. So that is it. I'm open to answering any questions. If you want to get in touch with Sage Women's Health, you can scan that QR code there, or Wellness Worx, you can scan that QR code there to learn a bit more about those organisations. Or if you're curious to understand whether the wellness game is a good fit for your organisation, then you can book in here for a coffee and a chat. So we have an offer, a 10% discount on the wellness game if bookings come in before the 15th of May.
Thanks so much, Chris. I really love this. I love that it's an experiential learning that raises awareness in the moment. I love that you go from essentially the pre and post surveys into kind of what is a scorecard for the organisation in terms of their emotional intelligence and culture. It's a real health check of those things on the day. And then that opportunity to debrief and discuss it really points to the solution that the organisation needs or an idea of what that might be. I think it helps an organisation to get real clarity over where the challenges are through that experience, and then they're able to take steps in the right direction. It's just such an amazing program that you've developed, an amazing workshop.
Yeah, and it's really good fun. I love to deliver it and just seeing the creativity and innovation of the participants and how they operate. That's really interesting. You got a
Question.
question there, Richard?
Yeah, so you said it takes about 4 hours. Is that 4 hours entirely spent with that setup that you talked about with those four pillars, or are there other activities they have to do as well?
Yeah, so essentially it's 4 hours. So it's probably about a half an hour setting up, priming them, getting their heads around it, delivering, the workbooks, walking them through a very short presentation on what's going to happen. Then they get into playing the crux of the game. So probably a good sort of 2 hours playing the actual, probably about an hour and a half playing the actual game. And then need at least an hour at the end for the debrief, because I found that the gold is in the debrief. So when they're actually playing the game, they're having lots of fun, they're interacting, but it actually took quite some time for people to switch on, and some people didn't switch on at all. And it wasn't until we did the debrief where we disclosed the underlying game that, people were having these challenges, was that, yeah, now I get it. And so, I'd asked, so it was a sort of a group coaching session. So what did you do? What did you do well? What didn't you do well? How could you have, performed better in this instance? So the learning was really revolved around that debrief. And so throughout the game, you have the funding body and the banker. So they've got chips and they're giving chips. So we gave the banker emotional intelligence issues. He couldn't communicate, he had a big ego. So the more that the participants were able to communicate and handle his ineffective communication, the more that they were instructed to loan them money. The funding body, we put her in an arm sling and in immense pain. Not one person checked in with her, are you okay? And she was really acting well, grimacing and in lots of pain. if anybody asked her, she was instructed to give them more funding. We also had a wellness support officer. If they actually utilised the wellness support officer and the wellness support officer was really looking after the team dynamics, they were instructed to we were giving them more money. So the underlying crux of the game is they will win if they're looking after the health and well-being of their staff, but they're not told that prior, they're told that post. And then they're like, oh, now we get it. And so the underlying rationale is, if we're looking after our people are the biggest asset of any business. And if our people are healthy and well, then we're going to be performing more optimally. And ultimately, a business goal is to increase revenue and have that high profitability. Well, the person that's the team that's looking after the health and well-being of their organisation, of their people, will have had the most chips. So they're going to be the most profitable. So we're just trying to replicate real life and showcase the importance of looking after your people.
Cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's good fun. Hey, Jody, you've come and joined us. How are you?
Hi, ladies. Hi, Rich. We haven't met. How are you? I am sorry I was late. I got called to a last-minute meeting.
Oh, good. You can watch the replay. Do you have any questions at all, Jody?
No, sorry, I was just trying to get my camera to work and it's not for some reason. No, I don't have any questions. I came in when you're on one of the last play cards. I'm sorry, so I didn't quite get there. But yeah, I guess my only observation to add in on corporate wellness and menopause and things like that is often there's quite a few things at play at the same time, and it can be kind of hard to work out what the key driver is. You know, I went to my doctor in the last year or two going, and I feel like I'm depressed, but I'm really confused because I don't think I'm depressed. And it was kind of a process of working out that, A, I was menopausal, B, I was suffering major, burnout and bullying issues at work, and trying to work out what the solutions were when there was this multi-layered issues happening all at the same time. So yes, it's a very interesting age group to be in, and it's so complicated. Yes, and I work currently in a workplace that every year the surveys show that the culture is absolutely appallingly awful, and I'm the wellness officer, and people are so head down bum up, they won't take 5 minutes away to do anything for themselves, and they're all burning out and suffering, but the culture is such that they don't feel safe to actually just spend 5-10 minutes talking to a peer. Yeah, it's quite fascinating and disturbing.
That is one of the issues, isn't it? That a lot of these things that happen are invisible. You can't see them. And I think this wellness game really brings some of that to the forefront, makes it visible, makes people aware that there are things bubbling under the surface that they may not realize. And Chris, I was going to ask you, who is this ideal for? Like, I can imagine definitely as a multi-site company who's perhaps out of touch with what other offices are doing, or a very busy workforce that doesn't have time to investigate what's going on in the workforce with health and wellbeing. Do you have some guidance on who this is best for?
Yeah, I think, I see this working really well in those large organisations where they're potentially a little bit out of touch with all their employees and what's actively and actually happening. So it's re-engaging and bringing teams and cultures and strengthening those cultures. I hear what you say, Jody. It's like we're very complex creatures, and in life in general, there's so much going on for us that's going to be brought into the workplace, it's going to be impacting the workplace. So having that awareness first and foremost, so that we can be more proactive, is going to support mitigating all those things that so many organizations go through, the stress and the burnout and the opting out, and then those workforce leaving the organization because of they're not feeling safe. So I see big organisations as a really good fit. I see this as a good fit in a lot of organisations actually, but it needs about 30 participants. It needs a big group of people for it to be effective.
Thanks, Chris. Are there any other questions?
Oh, well, thanks for the opportunity to share it with you today. Jodie, if you feel that this might be a good fit for your organisation, don't hesitate to reach out, get in touch, and have a chat. And Rich, as I said, we can maybe look at bringing this over to New Zealand in time. And those that are watching the recording, just book in for a coffee and chat. Reach out if you're wanting to learn a bit more about the wellness game being implemented in your organisation.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, Christine, for your time.
Thanks very much.